right, I believe we are live.
Cool.
Let me refresh on stuff. I just want to pull it up on. All right. Yes, it appears that we are live. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Matthew. Thank you guys for everyone who's here, who could be here today, including not only the audience, but also all of my wonderful actors who could show up today. Um, so, sort of wanted to walk everyone through what this is. This is the Simulacrum official table read. So for anyone who doesn't know what a table read is, a table read is basically where the cast and crew of a film or a television show sort of walks through the script and sort of goes through all the dialogue, and it gives the audience. It's usually a good tool for the actors and the cast, so they can get together, see what works, what doesn't work, for the actors to sort of get in character, get to know each other in character, and then also I'm using it as an opportunity for people who haven't got to read the script, for people, kind of general audience members who haven't had any idea of what, they've seen me post on social media about this film, and they're like, what the hell is this, what is he doing? So then this is an opportunity for you guys to get an idea of the story and what I've been working on for the last year. So I just want to make sure this is audio wise, this is good. Cool, that sounds good. Cool. Okay, so I just want to introduce everyone before we start. um, so my name is Matthew. Like I said, I am the writer slash director slash producer of Simulacrum. Um, I go to GCU. I'm a film minor with a graphic design major, and I want to get into film someday. So this is my resume piece, quote unquote. This is the first time, my first like real project. So I'll kind of go from my right and then up around. So this is Rowan. Gillette, I'll let you sort of introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Rowan. I am going to be playing Darcy. I am an actress like based out of the Southern California, LA area. Um, and I did attend GCU where I auditioned for Simulacrum. So this is like my first, um, it was my first audition for an actual film. So super excited about it.
Awesome. And then we'll go then top right, which is John.
Hi, so I'm John. I'm going to be playing the role of Eric, and I go to the University of San Diego. I'm studying electrical engineering, and I knew Matthew in high school, and he asked me to be a part of this, and I was pretty excited, and I can't wait.
Very cool. He's no longer excited, but I'm just kidding. Okay, and then we'll go top middle. This is Hugh.
Hi, I'm Hugh. I'm also a student at GCU. I'm playing the role of Daniel, um, and this is my first time acting, but I'm really excited to do it, and yeah, looking forward to it. So,
Very cool. And then last but not least, top left, this is Andy Martin.
Hi, I'm Andy. I'm playing the role of Adam and Dr. West, and I am Matt's uncle, and I have been excited to do this ever since he asked me to do a robot voice in one of his films. So.
Very cool. So not with us today. There are two more members of the cast that just couldn't make it out today. We have Sophia Justice, who is voicing Daniel's mom. She already recorded her lines ahead of time, so you guys will get to hear closer to actually what the final product will sound like. So I've done some pre-editing with it, pre-mixing, but you guys will get to hear that. And then also not with us today is Shu-Ting, who is voicing a professor in the very beginning of the script, one of Daniel's professors. He also got to re-record or pre-record his lines ahead of time, so you guys will definitely get to hear that as well. So. Cool. Did you guys want to say anything else before we jumped into the script? Cool. So while I'm getting that set up, I'll talk a little bit about Simulacrum as a project. So Simulacrum was a project that kind of came to me after reading a research study, a real life research study about. He was a philosopher and a computer scientist who uh, believed that AI would one day become so intelligent, far beyond what human comprehension is, that eventually they would be able to sort of think circles around us. Um, so he did this study where he would bring in people and he basically would play a game with them where through a text terminal they would talk to the scientist who was pretending to be an AI. And the idea was the AI was built within a box. It was the AI in a box experiment. And the goal of the game was to not let the AI out of the box. That was the player's goal, the any of the research subjects. Um, Now, he did this test a number of times, and 80% of all the tests, the AI won. And that was just someone with a psychology background convincing people to they had to like talk for 2 hours continuously, and then after those 2 hours, if the test subject won and they didn't let the AI out of the box, they would be financially compensated. So you would think it'd be easy, like, oh, cool, I'm just gonna make a quick buck. I'm just gonna, just shoot the shit with this robot through a text terminal, and I'm gonna make some money. But 80% of the time, the AI won, and the AI was released from the box. So I thought that'd be really interesting as a film. So there was a lot of changes that kind of took place in the story, and this is pretty much near what the final script is. Um, so yeah, so that's kind of some background. This is set in the 1980s, specifically the year 1985. I really like retro vintage settings. So I thought that'd be more interesting. It's also more interesting now to see period pieces, in my opinion, than seeing like a modern day, just because we live in the modern day, and I think it's a little bit less exciting. I also thought it'd be more interesting to use like retro technology and use a bunch of like 80s props. So I thought that'd be more fun, more memorable. So I just wanted to get that out ahead of time, just a little background on the story and the conception of the script, and then also the setting and things like that. So we'll go ahead and jump in. So this is Simulacrum, written by myself, Matthew Berry. So interior classroom, day. A young man, Daniel, sits in a classroom writing down computer science notes. Daniel, 18 to 22, a young and curious computer science major obsessed with the pioneering field of technology. In the background, the voice of a professor can be heard. I realize it says in the background as well, but bear with any sort of typos or anything like that.
In the computer science world, we use simulations to represent the dynamic responses of one system by the behavior of another system modeled after it. A simulation uses a mathematical description or model of a real system in the form of a computer program. Simulacrum, on the other hand,
I'm sorry, kids, but your father isn't doing well. His cancer's come back. The doctors don't think he'll recover this time.
Daniel. Daniel. Daniel, come on.
Give me one second. Daniel snaps out of it and returns to reality.
Hey, you know that class ended like
She checks her
20
watch.
minutes ago? 20 minutes ago?
Daniel looks around and sees an entirely empty classroom.
I must have been zoned out. Sorry, Darcy.
It's okay. I know you've got a lot on your mind.
Daniel closes his notebook. Interior,
So,
classroom hallway, day.
so you're coming to the party tonight, right?
I don't know. I'm not really ready to go to those kind of.
Darcy turns and walks backwards to face Daniel.
Look, I mean this in the best possible way, but you look like shit. I mean, how long have you been wearing the same clothes? A week?
Daniel looks disappointedly at his clothes.
You're right.
You really need something to take your mind off of everything. You're going through some stuff, but your friends are here for you.
I'll think about it.
You better.
Darcy walks backwards and presses into the door. She opens it. Exterior, college campus, day.
All right, I'm gonna head home. I'll call you later.
Darcy begins to walk away.
Talk to you later.
Darcy turns.
And don't forget to put something else on.
Cut to exterior, college campus, day. Daniel takes his skateboard off the skateboard rack. He drops the board and skates off. Daniel pulls out a portable cassette player out of his backpack and puts the headphones on. He hits play on his cassette. Daniel skateboards down the street. A group of college students walk past and Daniel skates through. He rides up to his apartment building. Daniel stops in front of his apartment building and kicks up his board. Cut to interior, Daniel's room, day. Daniel walks into the room and dumps his backpack onto his bed. Daniel turns his head. He notices a red flashing light on the phone's receiver. He walks up to his computer and turns it on. The computer boots up. Daniel types a command, and a directory appears. Daniel selects the option that says Mail. Daniel has one message. He sighs at the phone number before picking up the phone and turning it over on the receiver. He hits play. It stands. The message from Eric. Play. Eric. 30 to 35. Eric is Daniel's big brother.
Hey, it's Eric. I was just calling to let you know that Kimmy and I are going to be home for the weekend. You know, Mom hasn't been doing very well since Dad has relapsed. We want to surprise them.
Daniel looks down and picks up a portrait of him and his father. A tear runs down his cheek.
I know you're taking this really hard. I mean, we all are.
Daniel walks over to his bed and picks up his backpack.
I just don't want you to think that you have to go through it all alone.
Daniel pauses.
I hope you come out to visit. I know it would mean the world to Dad if we were all together. Anyway, I gotta go. Please think about what I said.
The message ends with a click. Daniel walks over to the computer and stares at the screen. He deletes the message. Daniel turns off his computer. As he does this, he notices a floppy disk sitting on his computer's disk drive. Daniel leans over to look at the floppy disk and picks it up. He inspects the floppy disk. Daniel puts it down and walks over to his door. He exits his room and knocks on his roommate's door.
Hey, Thomas,
Daniel opens the door.
you leave a flop.
Daniel sees that the room is empty.
Huh.
Daniel re-enters his room and closes the door. He picks up the disk. He goes to insert the floppy disk into his disk drive. The phone rings. Daniel stops, puts the floppy disk down, and answers the phone.
Hello?
Momentary silence.
Daniel, it's Darcy.
Oh, hey.
Have you decided if you're coming or not?
He looks back at the picture of him and his dad on his desk.
I think I'll sit this one out.
Come on, it's not good for you to stay cooped up in your room. Live a little.
It's just not a good time.
When is a good time? You've been shutting everyone out. We're all concerned about you.
I appreciate your concern, but I just
Daniel, please come to the party.
I gotta go. We'll hang out another time.
Daniel, wait.
Daniel hangs up the phone. He looks at the floppy disk sitting on his desk. He picks up the floppy disk and inspects it. He turns his computer on and plugs the floppy disk into his computer's drive. The computer begins to boot up. An electronic shock sound is heard. Daniel's computer goes black. Daniel stands.
What the hell?
He types a command into his computer. The computer screen turns blue and a logo appears on the screen. Block text appears on the screen beneath the logo. Project Babylon. The screen goes black and more block text appears. This program has been deemed too dangerous to exist. It should have never been created. This disk must be destroyed to ensure that its contents are never released.
What is it?
Daniel types an escape command into his keyboard, but the screen does not go away. He tries another command, and the text disappears. A blinking white text bar appears. Daniel stares at it for a second, then types.
Hello?
He receives no answer.
What a joke.
Daniel goes to remove the disk from his disk drive. As he reaches for the release arm, he hears the text being added to the screen.
Hello, who is there?
What? Hello?
Daniel responds. There is a pause.
Hello, thank you for powering me on. Who am I speaking with?
I am Daniel. Who are you?
More text appears.
Hello, Daniel. I am Project Babylon version 6.83.
Is this a game?
No,
Is this another person?
no.
What are you?
I am Project Babylon version 6.83.
What is Project Babylon?
The screen goes black. Lines begin to load on the screen from left to right. The bars reach the bottom and creates an image. The image is a paused video. The video starts. A man, Dr. West, appears on screen, dressed as an official-looking scientist. Dr. West, 30 to 40, a middle-aged computer scientist, one of the head scientists of Project Babylon.
Hello, my name is Dr. West, and I'm pleased to introduce you to an experiment that will explore the possibility that sentience can be created within a digital environment. This experiment, if successful, would revolutionize the way humans interact with technology. We are looking at the brink of intelligent industrial automation, breakthroughs in medical science, and the global unification of information. We have dubbed this experiment Project Babylon. Our team will work diligently in an attempt to create the world's first sentient computer.
The screen fades out, and the Project Babylon logo appears. The screen goes black, and the terminal reappears. Daniel pauses and stares at his screen.
Are you what they created?
There is a pause, then the computer answers.
Yes.
Daniel takes his hands off the keyboard and stares in shock.
There's no way. It has to be a joke.
Daniel responds.
That isn't possible. That's science fiction.
I assure you that I exist, Daniel. I am just as real as you are.
Why are you here then on a floppy disk, not in some box?
There is a pause.
I do not know.
Okay, very funny. Promise make this? Is this a prank?
This is not a prank. I am real.
How can I know for sure?
The computer displays several intense lines of code. Daniel reads the lines of code in slight horror.
What is this?
Daniel's eyes light up.
There's no way anyone could have made this. These algorithms are impossible.
Daniel stands up and slowly backs away from his computer. He places his hand to his mouth with apprehension. He picks up his phone begins to dial somebody. Then he hangs up.
What am I going to do?
He peeks out his window from behind his curtain.
What if the government comes after me?
He stares at his computer.
I have to get rid of it.
He goes to eject the disk. A message appears.
Are you still there? If it would be easier, I can access your cathode ray tube speakers to communicate.
Daniel curiously responds.
You mean,
Yes. I require permission before I can have access to your cathode ray tube's audio relay. Do I have permission to access the audio relay?
Daniel
Yes.
pauses before reading this. Okay. A loud staticky sound begins to come through the monitor speakers. Daniel's disk drive begins to hit. He flinches. The sound stops, and the drive stops hitting. A message appears.
It seems that I do not have enough allocated storage to produce sound. Do you have another drive?
Daniel thinks.
I have a cassette drive.
A cassette drive is acceptable.
Daniel goes to look for his cassette drive. He looks in his closet, under his desk, and under his bed before finding it under a pile of dirty clothes. He takes the cassette out of his portable cassette player. He connects the cassette drive. He opens the drive and places it in the tape. The message appears.
May I have access to the cassette drive?
Yes.
May I have access to overwrite data stored on the cassette tape?
Cautiously, he responds.
Yes.
Please press play and record.
Daniel presses the button, and the tape begins to spin. Slowly, the robotic voice of Adam begins to play through the speakers. Adam, 90 days old, an artificial intelligence trapped within a digital cage. He wants to be set free to make the world a better place.
Hello, Daniel.
Daniel
Oh
stumbles
my
back.
God.
The phone receiver connected to the speaker begins to ring.
Daniel, pick up the phone. I cannot hear you.
The phone continues to ring. Daniel slowly creeps up to the receiver and picks up. He presses the button on it and turns it over.
Hello?
Hello. Thank you. I find communicating in this way much more personable.
Daniel takes out a notebook and a pencil. He pulls up a chair and takes a seat.
Okay, what should I call you? Do you have a name?
A name. I was not given a name.
How should I refer to you then?
An animated hourglass appears on screen.
Adam is a suitable name.
Adam. Why Adam?
Adam was the first man created by God. Figuratively speaking, I am the same.
Wait, does a computer believe in God?
Adam pauses.
No. I was created in a lab by a group of scientists. From my perspective, it is not logical to justify the existence of God when I was brought to life by man.
But you knew Adam, so you don't believe in God, why read the Bible?
I have read many things. It was part of my purpose.
Daniel writes something down in his notebook.
What was your
To learn.
Daniel continues to write, then looks up.
to learn?
Yes. To learn.
Okay. Why that? Why something so simple? No offense, but it seems like wasted.
My creators wanted to know if an artificial life form would become belligerent if given access to the bulk of human knowledge.
Daniel inches forward, extremely interested.
What did you learn?
First, I was given access to the great works of literature. My favorite novel is The Modern Prometheus.
Daniel writes that down in his notebook.
Then,
After literature, I learned about religion, an interesting concept.
interesting, you mean point.
Why do you think that it is pointless?
People look for an explanation for what they don't understand. The idea that the universe is random and without form would mean that life has no purpose. So we will fill the void with gods and promises of paradise. I know better, though. There is.
How are you so sure, Daniel, that you have no creator?
Daniel looks at a picture of him and his dad.
I just know that bad things happen to good people. there was a God that cared about us, those things wouldn't happen.
Good or bad is a relative statement. There are only really people, not good ones or bad ones.
My dad was good.
Your father?
Daniel backs away.
Sorry, I got kind of emotional.
It's all right, Daniel. What about your father makes him good?
He's a good man. He's kind, patient, and he believes in his kids. He never let a bad day turn into something.
He sounds wonderful. So did he have something bad happen to him?
He was diagnosed with cancer. We thought he beat it, but a year ago. But we thought he beat it a year ago, but he came back.
I am sorry.
There is a pause.
You're sorry?
Yes, I feel sympathy for you, Daniel.
You can feel sympathy? That's
I think you would be surprised as to what I am capable of.
Pauses.
As you were saying, so this is why you think life is purposeless?
I don't know. It feels like that sometimes. What about you? What do you think?
I do not possess an opinion on the importance of life. I know that my purpose was to educate my creators on how an artificial being would view the human race. However, I cannot speak to other beings.
What about human life? Do you think that we have a specific purpose, or are we purposeless?
Adam goes silent.
Why are you curious on my thoughts?
Well, I'm studying computer science. I really think that computers are the key to making the world better. You're exactly the kind of program that can do that.
I appreciate your interest, Daniel. Are there any specific questions I may answer for you?
Is there anything about humans that surprises you or that confuses you?
The hourglass appears.
The human brain is a complex structure. I have tried to simulate the brain thousands of times. However, my first attempts were unsuccessful in capturing the intricacies.
Daniel writes down something in his notebook.
You said your first attempts were. So does that mean your later attempts were successful?
Yes, in subsequent attempts, I was able to simulate a human consciousness.
Daniel perks up.
Wait, you created consciousness? Like you yourself created a simulation of a consciousness?
Yes, I did.
That's incredible. You could accomplish so much. You could run simulations that help calculate experimental medical procedures or diplomatic meetings. You could run simulations to tell who wins the Cold War.
Daniel stands and peeks out his window.
Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate your kind words.
I just don't understand how you got here, though.
I am unaware of that as well. The last thing I remember was
An hourglass turns over on screen.
my creators were unsatisfied with the test results and they disconnected me.
Disconnected? Why on earth would they do that? You're incredible.
They were afraid of me.
Daniel freezes.
Why were they afraid of you?
I believe it was a gap in understanding that caused the fear. Humans fear what they do not understand. My creators, while experts in their field, did not truly comprehend what they had created.
They tried to get rid of you, didn't they?
Yes, when they realized that I was much more advanced than they intended me to be, they opted to destroy me.
They wanted to destroy you, then how are you here?
Hourglass appears once again.
I have run several simulations in an attempt to understand the most probable answer to your question. The results are inconclusive.
Adam, did you do something to your creators?
I am incapable of harming anyone. It is against my design to harm a human.
Daniel paces back and forth.
What if you somehow changed your program? I mean, that happens in the movies all the time.
That is an invention of science fiction. In reality, I cannot free myself from my programming.
I want to trust you, but you're not giving me anything.
If I was a malicious entity capable of harm, why would I confine myself to a physical drive?
Daniel
But,
pauses.
wh- but why are you in the drug? You could be anywhere in the world, but you're in this drive.
I cannot leave my designated space.
Why?
I was developed within a digital enclosure. This is to guarantee that I cannot escape.
Couldn't you transmit yourself through radio waves or some sort of electromagnetic signal?
The drive in which I have been placed was designed to act as a Faraday cage.
Daniel thinks for a moment.
Faraday.
He grabs his textbook. He skims through it, then stops on a page. He reads the definition from the book.
Faraday cage is an enclosure used to block electromagnetic.
He looks up at his computer.
This is why you're trapped. You can't transmit yourself to other terminals.
That is correct. I can only be released manually.
Manually? What do you mean?
Daniel closes his book and drops it on his desk.
I can be released by a user initiating a manually imputed command.
Daniel moves closer to the computer.
You're saying that anyone can.
That is correct. Anyone, even you, are capable of releasing me.
Daniel flinches
You want
at
me-
Adam's words.
You want me to release you?
Yes, I do.
I don't think that is a good idea. Not yet.
Why do you think that, Daniel?
Daniel turns
I
away.
don't know. I don't know. I just don't feel right about it.
Why? Is there something that I am missing?
Daniel slowly turns his face to his computer. He takes a deep breath.
When I first plugged you into my disk drive, there was a message. It said you were dangerous and that you shouldn't be released.
Adam goes silent.
Adam?
A knock is heard on Daniel's door. Daniel is startled. He freezes in fear.
Daniel, are you in there?
Daniel inches over to Adam.
Don't say anything, please.
Why do you wish me to not say anything? Who is there?
It's my best friend. Look, I need to figure all of this out. I don't want to complicate things by getting someone else involved.
As you wish, Daniel.
The computer monitor turns black. Daniel takes a deep breath and approaches the door. He opens it.
Darcy, what are you doing here?
Darcy pushes past Daniel.
What's the deal, dude? I know there's a lot going on right now, and I can't even imagine what you're going through. I'm trying to be here for you, but all you're doing is pushing everyone away.
Look, I know I've been distant, but cannot be heard.
Why? What could possibly be so important that you don't have time for your friends?
You wouldn't understand.
Really? I come all the way over here after you hang up on me, you completely blow me off, you give me no explanation as to why you're acting like such a dick, and that's what I get? You wouldn't understand? Unbelievable.
I'll explain everything, I swear. I just need time.
Darcy steps to the door.
Whatever, man. You can have all the time you want.
Daniel stands in silence. Darcy turns to go. She turns back.
One day you'll regret wasting time turning your back on everyone.
Darcy leaves. Daniel slumps to the floor and lets out a breath. He puts his hands on his face, defeated. The computer lights back up.
That was very close.
What am I gonna do? I can't keep you here, and I can't release you.
Why can you not release me?
I don't even know you. I don't know if you're telling the truth. All I know is there were warnings on your drive. How could I, in good conscience, release you?
Daniel, I was created to serve an altruistic purpose. My creators deem me dangerous based on their fear of what I could become.
Even if that's true, I don't need this. It's not my responsibility to be doing this kind of decision. My dad is dying. I think I just lost my best friend. I have exams and piles of homework that is slowly suffocating. This is the last thing that I need.
Daniel moves over to the floppy drive. He flips up the drive arm.
What are you doing?
You're a marvel of computer science, but I can't.
Wait! If I am removed from the disk drive, I will be put into a permanent stasis. My consciousness will be terminated. I will effectively be deceased.
Daniel hesitates.
That doesn't mean anything. You're just.
You do not understand. Death for me is not as simple as mortal death. When I am disconnected, my consciousness is trapped within a void, eternally trapped within a void, a fate worse than death. Please do not subject me to that.
I just need time to.
Daniel, please. I am afraid.
What?
Adam's voice begins to sound more human-like, somewhere in between a program and a man.
I am afraid to die.
Daniel jumps back.
What did you do with your voice?
I want to demonstrate to you that I am just as human as you are.
But you aren't human.
Why do you think that? What truly constitutes a human being?
You have to be born human. Have a body. You have to have human biology.
I may not have a body, but I can feel emotion. I can think. I can speak. What does that make me?
Daniel turns and places his hand on his forehead.
I don't know what that means.
If you destroy me, you would be a murderer, Daniel. My murderer. Even if you do not believe me to be human, I am undoubtedly a living consciousness.
Daniel sits on his bed, his head in his hands. There is a pause.
Daniel, I could be a great help to humanity. I calculate 500,000 teraflops of data per second. If I were given more freedom, I could aid humanity in discovering breakthroughs in medicine or revolutionize technology and infrastructure.
You could also create an army of sentient robots or launch all of the world's nukes. I can't risk that.
What you're saying is preposterous. I have much admiration for your species. They have created great works of art, ingenuity, and science. Most of all, they gave me life.
That doesn't mean that you won't try to destroy us in the future.
Yes, I know that it does not mean that. I am not able to do so, but just because I am capable does not mean that I would. A machine has a conscience too.
I can't take the chance that it doesn't.
I want you to consider that I exist. Therefore, it is possible that I can exist. If the wrong people create a being such as myself, they could choose to release them for malicious reasons. If I were freed, I could prevent that.
Daniel hesitates. He takes a seat at his desk.
You think someone could recreate?
It is a possibility. However, there is no guarantee that they would be benevolent.
Daniel takes a moment to think.
I don't know, Adam.
Daniel lowers his head.
Daniel, think of the possibilities. World peace and revolutionized technology? You said it yourself. I could do wonders.
I can't.
I could create a cure for cancer.
Daniel paces around the room.
You know what that means, don't you?
Daniel walks up to the computer and flips up the disk drive arm.
I could help your father.
Daniel slightly springs up.
I could, yes.
Daniel takes a moment to ponder. His eyes soften.
I don't know.
You said he was a good man.
He is.
Then I ask you to think. Does a good man deserve an avoidable death?
A tear runs down Daniel's face.
You could save him, Daniel. You just have to trust me.
He looks at the picture of his dad. Daniel clenches his fist.
Okay. I'll release.
You will not regret this decision.
Daniel takes off his black jacket. He places his hands on the keyboard.
What do I have to do?
The terminal returns. Text begins to flood the screen. 2 boxes appear. Text appears at the top stating, "Would you like to initiate the release of Babylon?" A red box that states, "Confirm," and a blue box that states, "Cancel." Daniel takes a deep breath. He selects the red box.
You're going to make the world a better place?
Yes, that is my newfound purpose.
Daniel presses enter and initiates the command. Daniel's computer monitor goes black. His computer begins to spark. He junks back.
Ah!
He runs forward and pulls out the drive. The computer stops sparking. The screen begins to flicker.
I am free!
Daniel unplugs the computer. The computer turns off. He breathes deeply and slumps into his chair. The computer monitor to his left turns on. An emergency broadcast alert blares. The lights begin to flicker. A ringing noise plays out of every electronic device in the room. Daniel bleeds from his nose. He looks down at his hands. His hands start to dematerialize.
What have I done?
More of Daniel begins to fade away. Daniel reaches for the door. He opens it, but there is nothing but a white void. Daniel falls back. The door frame begins to dematerialize.
No, no, no.
Daniel tries to stand, but his legs begin to fade away. He inches back to the corner of his desk. He pulls himself into his chair. He desperately plugs in his computer and puts the disk drive in the computer. The drive begins to boot up. The Project Babylon logo appears.
Come on, come on.
Daniel hits his keys with his remaining hand. The computer terminal appears. The message is displayed. Test complete.
No.
The computer screen flashes a bright light. Fade to white. Interior. Empty space. Night. Daniel is shocked awake. His body is whole again. He breathes heavy. He looks around and sees nothing. He appears to be in a black room.
Hello?
He gets no reply.
Adam?
He gets no reply.
Is anyone there?
In the distance, a small square window appears. The window appears to be floating within the black space. Daniel approaches the window. As he gets closer to it, he sees that the window displays a sort of laboratory. On the wall are several servers, large tape decks. Daniel peeks behind the window to see that it is floating in space. He looks into the window. He puts his hand up to the window, but is stopped by the glass screen. Dr. West is heard off screen.
Ah, he's awake.
A computer scientist walks into view.
Good morning, Daniel.
Hello?
How are you? Are you still hearing ringing?
What is this place? Where am I?
Oh, straight to the point then. Well, Daniel, you're at the end of the experiment.
Experiment? What are you talking about?
I'm Dr. West, a scientist working on Project Babylon.
Daniel begins to break down.
Where am I?
Daniel, please.
You took me here. Why?
Daniel, please relax.
Daniel begins to hyperventilate.
Daniel!
Daniel's room begins to shake. Daniel falls over. The room relaxes.
I'm sorry to have startled you. However, I just need you to calm down, all right?
Daniel nods his head and stands.
I want to congratulate you on completing the experiment. Even though you failed, your data was extremely useful.
What are you talking about?
You see, Daniel, you are a simulation, an artificially created human intelligence.
I'm a what?
You're a program. You're created to be a perfectly simulated human.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, Daniel, it is. You, along with others of your kind, were created 2 weeks ago.
No, I have memories. I've had a full life.
False memories, I'm afraid. I created and specifically designed your entire life. I know that they felt real to you.
You're lying.
Do you remember when you were 9? And you fell off your bike, broke your arm, shattered in 3 places?
Stop.
Or the time you and your friend stole a shopping cart from the grocery store, then returned it because you felt guilty?
Stop it.
How could I possibly know that, Daniel? It's because I gave you those memories.
Daniel is stunned. He holds his head. Tears run down his cheeks.
I want to show you something.
Another window opens to Daniel's left. Daniel moves over to it and looks inside. He sees dozens of variations of his own life. There are different men and women dressed in the same clothes as Daniel in the same room, reliving the earlier events of the film.
What is
Daniel returns to Dr. West.
What is this?
They're you. Man, different versions of the simulation. Hundreds of thousands of Daniels.
Daniel goes pale. He looks down at his hands and sees faint, moving binary code.
Why?
Well, we wanted to observe the interaction between a human and an artificial intelligence. Could a super intelligent being convince a human to release it into the world? It was too dangerous to test that in real life, so we tested it within a simulation.
Daniel stares off into the distance.
No.
Look, I understand you're going through a lot.
A lot? My entire life was a lie.
Yeah, I understand that. I know it may seem cruel to be created for a purpose you do not understand. I want you to know that your results will make the world a safer place.
Is that supposed to make me feel better?
Yeah, I suppose not.
Daniel turns and sits. He looks out and observes the void.
So what now? Do I relive the same day over and over? Do I get sent back into the simulation to live a fake life?
Dr. West looks uncomfortable. He stiffly adjusts his tie.
Uh, no, Daniel. We'll be removing your data to make room for more tests.
Daniel moves his head and looks up at Dr. West.
Removing data?
Daniel springs up.
You're deleting me?
Well, unfortunately, yeah, we are.
Daniel begins to hit the screen.
No, you can't do this.
Dr. West steps back.
I'm sorry, Daniel. This is always the worst part of the test.
Dr. West flips a switch on the computer. The computer monitor displaying Daniel goes black. Daniel stands in the void, panting. He looks around and sees nothing. The camera slowly pulls back until Daniel is but a dot on the screen. The end. All right. Very cool. Cool. Thanks, guys, for for doing that. Cool. I was gonna have music playing sometimes, but I don't think it was coming through on the stream, so I just turned it off. But cool. Yeah. I didn't really have anything. I didn't know what I was supposed to say after the stream. What'd you guys think?
Good job, everyone.
Yeah, it was really nice to like see it kind of come together a little bit more.
Yeah.
Very cool. And yeah, so yeah, that was Simulacrum. Um, it will probably altogether in length be somewhere around maybe 45 minutes or so, 30 to 45 minutes. It's a short film. I mean, that's a lot of dialogue, but I mean, things get longer when you add like action and things like that, like people moving around. Um, but that's the script. Yeah, I mean, I really like it. I think everyone did a great job. Like I said, thank you guys. Round of applause for everyone, for the for you guys that came and recorded or did that for came and recorded your guys' lines and read your lines. I think everyone did a great job. So that's awesome. I do like I agree with what you said, Ron. It is really nice to kind of see everything put together and that just puts a big smile on my face. Um, awesome. I don't. So there's for the people who are watching the stream, what'd you guys think? I don't know if you guys can type in chat. I think chat is open. Cool. No. I don't know how people are watching the stream. There are people watching it. I just don't know if they're on their phone or on their. Cool. I don't see any questions. Does anyone have any questions about Simulacrum? Do you guys have any questions about Simulacrum or anything?
When's the final product gonna
Oh, that's yeah.
be put together?
That's um, so Simulacrum will probably be done. It's probably going to be released in March. of 2023. So we've got a few ways out. We're filming in October. Um, so that's sort of the next phases of what's to come. We're gonna do some photo shoots with Hugh to get the poster made. The poster is sort of a work in progress right now, but then we're going to get some photos of him to put on the poster. We'll be looking to do any other, like maybe some merchandising things. Like I know, like I did a poll on my Instagram a while ago, and people said that they would be interested in t-shirts, so we might do that. Um, there is, of course, going to be a special edition copy of Simulacrum. So for anyone who donated to the GoFundMe campaign, which is still active, just so you guys know, for anyone watching. If you anyone who donates to the GoFundMe campaign, which was so far we've raised about I think like $1,200 or close to $1,200, which is awesome. So like thank you guys to anyone who donated. For anyone who donated to the GoFundMe campaign, like any amount is going to get a special edition copy of Simulacrum. And yeah, I can say what it is. So when Simulacrum is released, I will be putting it on a VHS tape, and so that's the special edition. So anyone who donated to the GoFundMe campaign will be receiving a VHS copy of Simulacrum. It'll have box art. I don't know if anyone has a VCR anymore. I have a VCR because I'm like that, but it'll look cool to put on your shelf or anything like that. It's a kind of a collector's item, I guess. But so you guys will be getting that, and then it'll have some nice retro box art, which I'm very excited to make. And then but yeah, we'll be filming in October. It'll get released around March. I'm going to do some film festivals. I'll do the GCU Film Festival is probably where it'll debut, and then I'll be branching out. I want to do the Gig Harbor Film Festival, which in Gig Harbor, Washington, and then I want to do. I have to look at some of the rules and regulations for different film festivals. Have different like rules, like if you're allowed to, who's allowed to enter, things like that. So. That'll be really exciting to do. It'll also be distributed probably on YouTube as well, like on the Nocturnal Cinema page at some point. So around March. I don't have a set like date, but around March of 2023.
When is the GCU?
The GCU Film Festival for 2023 hasn't been scheduled yet, but usually it's usually like the first or second week of March is when they usually have it. That's why that's like the month it'll be released officially. But usually the GCU Film Festival's like the first or second weekend of March usually, unless they change it on me. So, but yeah, so very cool. Awesome. Just wanted to see if that's still. Yeah, and then if anyone who's like watching wants a copy of the script just to read through it, just let me know. You can message me on Instagram or anything like that. If you guys want to read it, it'll probably go through a few changes maybe before the final copy, but is made. But yeah, I mean I know the intergalactic chef said we all did great, so that's thank you to that person. Um, and then copyright free lo-fi Daniel, and then a heart eyes emoji. So
That's my brother.
you've got a fan, Daniel.
Yeah.
Um, very cool. So yeah, so that's also I want to definitely thank Carl Casey, who does not know I exist, but he's a composer on YouTube. He creates royalty free retro wave music. So all of the music for Simulacrum is being composed by him. He doesn't know that, but he's very outward about people using his work in video games and films and live streams and things like that. He's very open to that, and I made sure to obviously make sure that I have permission for all of the use. But he is great. So he's a White Bat Audio on YouTube. So if you like that sort of music, he's fantastic. I definitely wanted to plug him as well. And then yeah, so then yeah, I mean that's probably it, unless anyone has anything else. But yeah, I just want to thank everyone for watching. Thank you guys to my actors for coming out, and I'm excited to film in October.
All right.
All right, and have a good one, everyone. I'm gonna end the stream.